Alright. I'm just trying to make sure everything was set up. I'm over here parked up. Just felt like sharing Sabbath or afternoon, evening with y'all. It is raining here in New York City. It's not bad. It's not sunny, it's not warm, but it's not too bad. Usually, I'm chilling. I was getting slightly frustrated trying to set this up for the one or two people that may jump in. It's just impromptu. I was never really good at scheduling any kind of live. I just said, hey, you know what? I ain't going live. It's been a while on the Sabbath. That's the time I feel my head more clear. But I like going for walks when I'm inside. When I'm inside, I usually would watch certain things. People who have podcasts, presentations, things that's biblical in nature. I like looking at a lot of testimonies. I read, study. Is what it's for. But since it seems like a kind of slow Saturday because it's not sunny out, it's not warm, it's wet for most of the day. A lot of people are inside. So even though New York City is known for being very stressful in driving, because a lot of people not on the road, it's actually pretty chill. Believe it or not, I actually don't mind driving to relax at times under certain conditions. I think there's a lot of people out here who seem to be thoughtful, not in a rush, not driving like maniacs. You know, a lot of people drive very selfishly. When the last time I did a recording when I was driving, I was talking a lot about, these new ALPR cameras and how New York City basically set up the whole congestion thing by restricting traffic, closing streets off. Places that used to be 4 lanes of traffic now 2 lanes. Some places where you could drive down the street, you can no longer drive. So that naturally restricts traffic over the decades. I'd say since 9/11. But I'm not here to talk about at least that kind of agenda anyways. But a little bit attached to a lot more cameras that's been in the UK, that's been in many other places. Surveillance state. People always talk about George Orwell's 1984. Big Brother is always watching. I've been in the tech industry for a long time. I personally like tech because I see it as a way to enhance your means to accomplish certain things. A lot of tech now is dealing with production, productivity, related to businesses, organizations, production. I see it as a tool. It's good. Problem is, a lot of people, they see automation and technology as a way to replace people. That's a terrible thing. It's like a crazy race to the bottom that we have. It's like many people jump on the bandwagon and then drag the rest of us along at a increasingly speedily race to the bottom. People always want to replace people. And when you think about that, Yah put us here to be productive, yes, according to his will, his laws. But he doesn't want to replace us. He doesn't want to replace us. Even though we cause him so much heartache and trouble. When you look at it, if he doesn't want to replace us, he actually wants us with him. He's patient with us. We have a certain grace period. It's not going to be forever. But he wants us around. He wants us to acknowledge him, but at the same time, yeah, I made life in a specific manner. So when you look on the other side, okay, what wants to destroy us? What wants to get rid of us? What wants to replace us? It's just demonic when you look at it. When you want to diminish people's value to the point where you don't need them. We don't need you to do this job anymore. We have automation. And then on the other flip side of that, whoever is here, we're going to surveil you. We're going to surveil you to the point where you can't do anything without us knowing. Matter of fact, we done fine-tuned the surveillance and the algorithms and selling your data and collecting data so much. We refined it to the point where we know what you want before you know you want it. Now you could people could argue the fact that they want to compare that to Yah being omnipotent and knowing what we're doing all the time, and He's going to judge us based on our deeds and our thoughts and the actions and inactions, but it's not the same, because ultimately, it's a way that he wants and needs things to move. He created everything for a purpose. Many of us, that purpose escapes us because we don't know him. We don't know his character. We don't know anything about him. So a lot of people may not realize that. So the flip people will say, well, it's the same thing. They want to know what we're doing. They want order. It's not the same kind of order, because the kind of order that people are using technology for, surveillance for, is oppressive. Even though Yah would say after a certain point, if you don't choose me, when judgment comes, you don't want to be away from me, you will forever be apart from me. I don't want that for anybody. I don't want to go through that. But with technology and these entities that put these things in place, they just want to control. It's about greed and it's about oppression. It's not about liberation. They would sell you the point that it's about safety. They will sell you as like, it'll free you up to do more things. Free you up to do more things means it'll replace you. You'll replace jobs, which people have been steadily doing for the longest to save money, in the name of money, for the love of money. But they also want to oppress you now to see what you're doing, how you're doing it. They want to get to the point where they regulate how much food you get, how much money you get, how much freedom you get. Meanwhile, those same entities, peoples, sovereigns of the earth, while they're telling you you can't have this and that same this and that they're telling you that you can't have, they want plenty of it. It's one thing to want a lot. You need to have control. That's lack of control of your desires, of what you hunger for, what you want, what's going on. This is why you have to have control of your appetites, not just food-wise or lust-wise, but anything that you may indulge in. You get to the point where you just keep wanting more and more and more, where you're going to always want that fix. You're always going to want more and chase it. And it could be in the form of wanting to buy a bunch of shoes, always wanting to buy a bunch of cologne. Always in the form of you just wanting to go out to bars all the time or going out to go eat. It's not bad to go out and go eat, but to, constantly do it where you feel it, where you don't do it after a while. So we always have to be careful of what we do to self-govern. But the problem is these systems that's coming in place, so many people want to govern what we do, full control, not because they want to liberate us. They want to continue to oppress us. This is what I don't like. This is what makes me feel frustrated. It's very irritating to know so much people they support and they applaud for our downfall, for us being restricted heavily. Because a lot of people do not look at the bigger picture. So the unfortunate thing is, if we could dress things up to make the masses think and believe that this is for a better benefit, the masses are going to pull the rest of everyone down who sees the error in these ways. I know the book would say to do respect your leadership. At the same time, you have to keep in mind that leadership is still going to have to fall under Yah's will, because we have a tendency now to call good evil and evil good. So just because something may be deemed illegal does not mean it is unethical, right? And just because something is legal does not mean that it's unethical. Case in point, how much people would probably have gotten in trouble for defending themselves against an attacker, and then just to have the court now turn around and say you shouldn't have defended yourself. Or even having the attacker or or someone who's committing robbery turn around and sue the person who's protecting their property and their livelihood. Wild times, yeah? That's what you call good evil and evil good, right? So here we are with a lot of people that make the rules. They are in a higher echelon, you say, of society, meaning that they're making bank, and the whole leverage they use is making sure that we're dumbed down. We're too busy being divided against each other. We're too busy being distracted with entertainment or whatever politics or articles they put in our faces to keep things polarized, to keep us off balance, so they could put whatever they want in front of us and say, hey, this is for you guys' safety. And in the meantime, they turn around in their backroom deals, and they're actually planning oppressiveness. They're planning to make things more expensive. They're planning to take away money from us, as opposed to focusing on people having better self-governance. Because this is the real reason why society goes down. This is why we cannot have nice things, because people lack self-governance. So it doesn't matter how much technology you have. It doesn't matter what shiny new toys you have. It doesn't really matter how much laws you actually put into place, because you have an increasing amount of people who are not willing to govern themselves, to say, I shouldn't overeat. I shouldn't go and steal someone else's property. I shouldn't be out here fornicating. I shouldn't be out here drinking. I shouldn't be lying. You have people who refuse to do that. It doesn't matter what laws you put into place. The thing is, they utilize the fact that they know many of us are lawless and increasingly becoming lawless. So they utilize that to now build up principles to say, we're doing it for your safety. Or being that, certain demographics can't control themselves, we're going to implement control. To me, it seems plain as day. But, for people who actually follow the word, it's plain as day. And for people who actually utilize their God-given intellect, it's plain as day to do it. Now, yeah, I'm railing against the machine, but the machine, the system is in place, even though it may have started off with good intentions. What people say, that's that saying people have, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And this is what happens usually when we do not include Yah Almighty with our plans, or at least try our best to stick and adhere to His will, to His laws. Very simple. Just look at the commands and expand on it. Thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal. Keep the Sabbath Kodesh. Honor your mother and your father. Do not covet. These are things that people can weasel their way out inside of a court of law, sort of man's law. So the things that Yah would say, this is illegal, this is out of bounds of my law, man has found a way to finagle doing things that are against the commands and are not ethical. Because you hear in the news all the time, so many people get away with so many things. People literally get away with murder, and they walk, they're free. They gotta pay anything. They don't have to serve 1 day of jail time. They good. Well, not good, you understand what I'm saying. So we gotta really be mindful of what's going on. What's going on out here, and really look at what Yah wants us to do. Look at the word. I always tell people to read. Read so you will not be led astray. Read so you have discernment for yourself. Read so you can understand the bigger picture. A lot of people think they're above the word. They think it's old school stuff. People don't use that anymore. It's outdated. There's no possible way you can look at those commands and then look what's happening today and think those instructions are outdated. And the fact that we don't follow them shows how badly that they're needed. I do like order. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I'm not going to say I'm perfect at all. But the fact that I see how much lawlessness is there, how much people lack self-governance, how much slackness is celebrated, where people they applaud this stuff, and then years down the road when we actually reap what we've sowed, and people are asking, how can this happen? What you mean, society? As a society as a whole, we celebrated this stuff. Now we're seeing it in fruition. Now we want to ask how we get here, and people have amnesia. It wasn't that long ago. I remember it was demonized for people to discipline their children. There's one thing for a spanking. People want to attribute, giving your kid a spanking, whooping, as all abuse. Some children, many children don't need that. Maybe at certain times they may need it, and some kids may need it more than others. Some kids just need to be told something, because some children are going to be a lot more sensitive to their parents' instructions. Just like how some people will be more sensitive to the Ruach HaKodesh guiding them to say, hey, don't do that. Hey, you should do this. Some people, like to their parents, to Yah, they'll be more sensitive, like, you know what, Yah moved me, even though I went and did certain things, and I am now facing the consequences of my actions. You know what, I'm a little bit more sensitive now. Same thing as your parents. So we demonized as a whole. Can't even sometimes people said you couldn't even talk sternly to your kids, or the government will step in and take your children away from you. So now that also developed, years down the road, a lot of unruly children who turn into unruly people who were never disciplined, right? Because they had the system backing their bad behavior, enabling their bad behavior. So now we have a set of people now who don't want to adhere to order. So once you have people who don't want to adhere to order, it's easier to manipulate them into doing things and accepting more destructive behavior without them having the discernment or the self-governance now. You understand? This is why we cannot have nice things. It's not just people, it's people without Yah, people who have been conditioned to move a certain way. So here we are with a lot of unruly people, and then we have, you would say, a ruling class, the sovereigns of the earth, poising themselves to now have total oppression over these people who have been conditioned to be unruly, who have been conditioned to not have discernment. You understand how this all plays out? So now we have people who would see all the bad things going on, and then they would utilize that as a means to say, okay, then, since things are so bad, we need this here to adjust us on a right track. So they'll become susceptible to accepting anything you put in front of them. Unfortunately, this is a reality that we all have to deal with. So I don't want order, because we need order. This whole world functions off of order. Nature, it's still affected by our shortcomings, by our transgression. It still functions off of order. Just going for my little drive. Again, that's I like to do. When I'm not driving, I'm walking and talking, speaking and streaming is what we're doing. But yeah, just like sharing one of the many thoughts that I'm constantly going through in my head. A lot of times I need to relax. And part of Sabbath is like, yeah, you digest, you meditate on the word, talk with Yah, go through my thoughts a lot of times, and I have to remind myself to not let my thoughts eat me up. I could easily go down the path. People say rabbit hole. I'm like, sometimes I don't even need to go look at videos for rabbit holes. I'll make my own rabbit holes, and I have to be cautious to remind myself to take it easy, bruh. Sometimes I have to remember this. Yeah, take whatever frustrations I have, take it off my chest, take it from my head. And it does help to talk. It does help to chill, stand back, think about things before you do it. Look at everything as a whole, because I am only one person with a finite mind, so there's only but so much I could take in and accurately calculate and think about. And sometimes I would need, not sometimes, many times, all the time, I would need to hear other perspectives because people will see things that I don't see. They'll see it in a way that I may not see it or even thought about. I could be thinking about A, B, C, but then I may have several people come and bring the rest of the alphabet for me. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? I never thought about that. And we do need this. I know a lot of people like to talk about separating because, yes, like I said before, evil is good and good is evil. The world is increasingly becoming wicked, so you want to separate yourself from that as much as possible. That does not mean to totally separate yourself. Because you are not wise. You could be wise, but then this is not you alone here. You know, be careful. I'm not saying go make friends with every and anybody. You know, I'm not saying be friends with any and everybody. So you still gotta be wise at the same time. It's good to talk. It's good to think. It's good to go beyond your own understanding. You know? As I'm driving, I even look to see if anyone's in here. I can just be babbling on myself. It's okay. If I'm just here by myself, I can still use this footage for some of my platforms. But let's see what's going on here. Slow down a bit. Pull over. I don't even know if I'm streaming still. Am I still streaming? I'm still streaming. Look at that. Had a couple people jump on. I appreciate that. I don't know if anyone's in the chat. I wasn't even looking. Oh, it says chat disconnected. Hey, bro. Look at that. What's going on, man? Had 2 viewers. That's good. Got a couple people. And I'm still streaming. That's what's up. I mean, I probably ended just now, but yeah. You know, I wasn't really interactive because I was driving. So, you see hands free. I'm not holding it. I just got this camera here mounted up. Suction cups. Set it up to go live. Speaking and streaming. Let's speak on things that I see. Like I said, I don't know everything, but the things that I see and I see it. And if I know it, I'm going to share it. Keep your mind on Yah. Keep your mind on the Word. I always tell people read. I know sometimes people they want to hear something dynamic come from someone. They want to hear something prolific that's going to change them. You're not going to hear that all the time. I don't even know if I'm going to even produce that out of my mouth at any given time. But I'm just going to share. I know what I know. If I feel moved to speak it and share it, whether I'm talking to someone directly or if I just feel moved to put it on my platform, record it, which I usually been doing from a podcast and as of late a lot of shorts. But I just felt like going live. Why not? I haven't really I never scheduled anything live yet. I don't know if I'm there, but keep your mind on Yah. Read the Word. Sometimes, like I was saying before, people may not want to hear that because this sounds so regular, like you just dismissive. It's not. You have to start. It's good to get into Scripture, to see other content that will complement, but you have to get into the Word directly. All right. I don't know if my brother's still on here. I appreciate it. Dump it on here, or anybody else who has. Thank you. But yeah, you gotta read. You gotta read. It's good to look at other things, to take other things into account, but remember, other things are not the Word. You're not going to get further in your understanding if you do not understand who Yah Almighty is. If you don't know the character of Yahushua Mashiach, you're not going to understand what they're about, what he's about. This is not going to happen. You're always going to be limited by your finite understanding. So you have to go past your finite understanding and incorporate the infinite. No, we're never going to be able to wrap our minds around Yah. We're never going to. I'm not saying that. But you will understand him much more. Everything that we need, he has given us, all of us. Everything we need to navigate through life, to, to know him to the extent right now, as life is, as the world is, he's given it to us. Oh, I don't know. Am I still on? YouTube is not receiving enough. Okay, that's cool. I'm still going. Okay, I see a big delay. But yeah, you have to get into the word. That's the best way. And not a lot of people are going to question the different versions. They're going to say that man has changed this. I get that. But see, this is where you get to the point where they say eat the meat and spit out the bones. You're going to have to read to gain discernment. A lot of people allow that excuse to say, well, man's corrupted everything. I don't trust anything. Meanwhile, you're looking at other people's content. You could trust other people's content, but you're not going to trust the source that they base their content on. Make that make sense. So you're going to sit at home and be a hermit and just totally not talk to anybody. You're not going to read anything. You're not going to watch anything. By that logic, you're just not going to take in any information anywhere from anybody in any way, shape, or form. So that means you're not going to look at an email if you're at work. You're not going to take that. Oh, I don't subscribe to this email. I don't care what instructions they're telling us to do. I don't believe anything because man lies all the time. So that means if you're going to apply it to the book, it means you have to apply it to everything else. If people would, question me about my understanding my faith. A lot of times, people who follow the word and speak with others, and whatever questions or disposition that they have with the word, with Yah, they'll take it up with you because you're in their face right now. They're engaging with you. So you're going to have to answer questions. So you have to be discerned to be able to engage properly with humility, with discernment, with compassion and patience, but also with wisdom, because not every discussion is meant to be had. Um, not every engagement is meant to be prolonged because some people were just either not there at the point to take in things, or some people just want to argue. Some people just want to argue just to argue. But you have to direct them as best as you can, and then if they seem very willing, okay, sure, you walk with them, go the extra mile. If they seem resistant, okay, you still have to use discernment, feel where they are. 'Cause remember, Yahusha, he come to meet you where you're at, and he says, "Come as you are," but with the understanding not stay as you are. So the more discernment someone gains, the more they understand his character. They know it. The more they understand and start to discern what life is about, what life is, what the end goal is, at least for us. So then they will naturally start to change. That's part of the grace thing. It gives us time to see things, to digest, to think it through, and actually start to apply it. It's one thing to know it, but then you start to apply it. So one of the things I always see with people who may challenge the word is that what they may believe in, they don't actually apply what they are rebutting the word with. Someone could say, well, I don't know about the Bible because it's been people say it's plagiarized and people has corrupted things and used it to control and oppress. Yeah, unfortunately, man could use anything. But they would rebut and say, well, I heard about the scrolls of butter. The scrolls of butter has been around just as long as the Bible. As a matter of fact, longer. And the scrolls of butter say you're supposed to rub butter all over your body, and that is going to give you enlightenment. And it can't be just any butter. Not just fake butter they give you. There's a certain kind of butter. You have to find it, and you rub it all over your body, and then you use sleep and everything. Okay, I'm just saying this as a pretend situation. Nobody ever used the scrolls of butter. But the thing is, they will tell you about the scrolls of butter as a rebuttal to the Bible, to the word. Okay, cool. For me, with the word, I try myself every day with it. I challenge myself every day. I look to grow from it every day. And it feels uncomfortable when you are making that shift. You become more comfortable in walking a certain way because it actually does make life better. It gives you more peace when you understand it and doing it for the right reasons. But then now here you come with the scrolls of butter. Okay, I'm living the word and I'm trying my best to adhere my standards to the word. Now the scrolls of butter, are you living that? Are you rubbing butter all over your body every day? Are you sleeping with the butter so you could get better enlightenment? A lot of people would bring things. The reason I say this, I bring that situation up, is that people would bring other things to challenge the word with some other doctrine, but they themselves do not even follow that same doctrine that they are challenging the word with. See, it's the thing, if you follow the word and you're living the word, you are applying it to yourself. When you fight yourself every day, because this world has conditioned this body, this material world, to just adhere to that. So many people have to die to self all the time. And this is when you apply the word. But then all these other doctrines, that people use to counter the book, they don't even follow that. They don't live it. So this is one of the things that's a very one of the hypocrisies that I always see, is that people always want to challenge, want to challenge for the sake of challenging, But then when you look at it, when you look at whatever they're following, it's like, okay, if you really do really look into it like that, how does that better you? Are you just using this as a rebuttal because you see a benefit in it, or you just, actually see a benefit in it, or is it an actual just rebuttal just for the sake of arguing because you just want to just oppose? And a lot of us have been conditioned to not see this as what it is. Um, and I understand where people come from with that. I understand the different kind of doctrines that people go through, but yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just venting a little bit of frustration with some things I come across. Um, yeah, I actually did have a format when I was started with the whole what order is supposed to be, what true liberation is. Progression is not oppression. Um, Order is not order in the way that Yah made for us. It's not supposed to be oppressive. It seems oppressive because of you come across life in a certain manner, and now you're being told that what we've been taught is wrong. I understand you have to unlearn, and it's a process, and things you've been comfortable with. Now you have to be uncomfortable because you got to come out of your comfort zone. I understand the challenge. So you have to die to self. This is what that means. But it's order, because now if we understand what Yah's will is for us and what he meant life to be, what love is supposed to be, love is way more than what we think it is. You would understand his order, his way of life, his love, how we should have it, how we should practice it. It means, okay, we'll eat properly, so that reduces sicknesses. We control our appetites now. We control our appetites to want to take what doesn't belong to us. We control our appetites with not wanting to go run after someone romantically, lustfully. That'll be so much better for us when we don't go and fornicate, having sex outside of proper marriage, a proper covenant. Because now when you have these partners, you guess what now? You have soul ties, which is one major thing that we don't think about. That's heavy. But then we have these experiences with other people in a certain intimate matter that's locked in our memories now. And vice versa, they have the same thing with you. And then we just have all these partners, all these experiences that we should not be partaking in. These are the things that we're born into, that's normalized, that we have to now train ourselves to fight against now. And that's one of the hard parts to deal with, is we got to die to self. For some people, automatically they know, hey, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I see what happens, I'm good. And in some things, there's other people that they struggle with certain things. because they've been introduced to these things. They've normalized it and then practiced it for a good chunk of their lives. And some people, they only been experienced or exposed to something one good time, and it's so hard to shake because now ingrained in you. So Yah's version of love and order and life is actually liberating. It's actually, it gives you peace where you don't have things to worry about. Now, granted, we still have to worry about the brokenness here. We still have to worry about other people's decisions who is guided by selfishness, that's guided by hate, that's guided by abuse, that's guided by brokenness, that's guided by um trauma that they've gone through within their childhood. And it's harder when it's a child because now you're at a young age with this baggage now, or trauma that you've gone through in your life. Being heartbroken, things like that of that nature. But Yah's love is devoid of all these things. So we could just concentrate on what makes us healthy. Concentrate on thinking nothing but good things. No such thing as bad memories. No such thing as trauma. This is what God wants for us, and this is something I've recognized. To be away from death. Death is terrible. Death is a terrible thing to deal with. He doesn't want that for us. We just have to adhere to His will. This is as Paul did, make it to the end. Make it to the end, and always have your thoughts on Him. Have your thoughts on wanting to be with Him, not just to benefit us, where I want a good life, I want all the good stuff. No, 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 no. Just understand to be with Him, be with Yah Almighty is life itself, is love itself. You ain't gotta worry about bills. You ain't gotta worry about taxes. You ain't gonna worry about not having enough insurance for things. You ain't gotta worry about people stealing things from you. You ain't got to worry about your loved ones to see if they're safe, if their health is good. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff anymore. You ain't got to worry about being able to afford things. Yeah. It's tiring. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's times I am tired with dealing with things, with seeing the selfishness, seeing the lack of self-governance, and knowing when if there's no order, then you can't depend on a lot of people to self-govern and look out for other people. There are many people who are kind-hearted and good-hearted that will look out for other people, but then now you have to worry about other people who are not. So it does get tiring. Um, it does get tiring, but Yah holds me up. Yah holds us up. We have to focus on Him, because if it's up to us, we can't manage. We are not able to. We are not able to go forward without Him. But anyways, yeah. Um, thank you guys for watching. I'm here chilling over here by the water. It's raining, but it's still tranquil. It's chill. It's away from a lot of things. I always say I want to schedule lives and stuff. So, anybody wants to join, then, they have a set time and a set day. I'm just not there yet. At one point, I used to have my regularly scheduled podcast, and I don't even schedule those as much as I used to anymore. But eventually, when I move to, I'm going to get there and let everybody know. But, this is impromptu. I just felt moved to do it. Run my mouth, and I appreciate it for the people who sat here. But I said what you rambling about. But hopefully some, people got something from it and not just hearing me ramble. I hope some, maybe spark something. If you want to ask, hey, what are you talking about? You can just send me an email, send me your message. It's okay. It's all good. But yeah. Anyways, it's enough of speaking and streaming. I'm about to come off of this and just chill out and coast for the rest of this Shabbat, the Sabbath. Y'all be good. I hope you guys observing Sabbath. Come to Yah. It's a time to reset and separate yourself from everything. It's Kodesh, set apart. Be set apart. Set apart peoples. Anyways, talk to y'all another time.